Last time on Kombi Life, we began the search for our next home and adventure-mobile and decided that we are going to drive a vintage Kombi across the planet. The search covered the entire west coast of the USA, from Mexico all the way to Canada, where we found a lot of potential rigs, but none that really captured our hearts. But in this episode, we will meet our new Kombi, the one that's going around the world.
So we actually thought that none of those buses were good for us, and instead we found this. Look at all this space, I can stand up. Built-in cooker, full-size fridge, microwave, got a sink I can stand up in.
Stand up in the sink?
Is that an oven?
You can stand up in the sink.
Stand up in.
Spin the table around. Check it out, we did say that we wanted a walkthrough. This place is huge. Huge TV, additional sleeping area, and the best part, wait for it. Just joking, you don't think we'd really do that, do you? No, actually, we found a vehicle which we think is going to be the next Kombi Life home and adventure rig.
But it's all the way down in Arizona, so we had to find a way to get all our things, us and ourselves, all the way to Arizona, and we found this thing.
Actually, this is a relocation deal with this RV company, so not only are they giving us this to get all the way down to San Francisco, but they're also paying for the fuel and paying us for the privilege of taking them there.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So let's hit the road. Unfortunately, we only got to enjoy the huge space of the mighty Mini Winnie for 2 short days during the relocation deal. We had to move ourselves and every item we own from Seattle, Washington, 807 miles south to San Francisco, California. And now this is happening.
Trust us, moving all the way back down south with no vehicle, a dog, and all of our possessions was the last thing that we wanted to be doing. Being without a Kombi sucked, and bouncing between rental cars was exhausting. So this is our second rental vehicle, and we've been on the road constantly, just driving 9-10 hours a day just to get to Arizona from Vancouver Island. So it's such a long trip, but it's going to be worth it because this bus looks amazing.
Welcome to Ford Life. This is actually a 2017 model, so it's way out of our price range, so we can't really drive around the world in this vehicle as much as we'd like to, because the aircon is awesome. And as you can see, another reason why we couldn't do that is because it's full, absolutely chock-a-block with all of our stuff, so we can't actually sleep in here as well, so it's a no-go. My girlfriend's a hottie, just saying.
We're just about to head into Arizona and came out from a pee break, and it's so hot out here.
Baking hot. Can't even think, my brain is literally shutting down. I feel like this is a slow death.
This bus better be good.
I just want to point out that it's 9:31, it's 41 degrees centigrade, and that's PM, it's dark. What the...
Arizona, baby.
Seriously, did I mention it's 42 degrees? That's 107 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the hottest it has ever been in my entire life at night time. I feel like I should be sunbathing, only it's dark. It actually feels like somebody's got a hairdryer and they're blowing it in my face. How do people live like this?
As it turns out, people don't really live here. At least not during the summer anyway.
Early the next morning, we realised that Quatzsite, Arizona is a bit of a ghost town this time of year. But there was at least one guy living here, and a bus that would become our next combi. We have just arrived. It is roasting hot, but here is the bus.
And Phil.
Yes, dear. How are you guys? How was your trip down here?
Nice to meet you, Bill.
Hello, sir. How are you doing? Are you sweating?
I am, just a little bit.
So hot, you know.
Look at that bus.
So this is the bus. I've had it for about 4 years. Got it, it was stripped out. And so it shall be again.
Wow, it's a nice bus.
What year is this bus?
73.
73.
He's going backwards 20 years.
It's really dry. Like, why is there no rust on this bus? For us, finding a bus that has no rust is like a needle in a haystack.
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle bus.
Yeah. What do you think? Should we sell this bus? Is that a yes? All right.
Right now, it might not seem like much. I mean, it's a little bit of a project, but this definitely has potential. This is an amazing find.
I just don't have the time to devote to it that it needs to get on the road.
Alaska approves. Yay! Your new seat.
What do you think, Al?
She's looking around.
Yeah.
Alright, if you guys clean up a little bit, I could do this.
Let me get this.
What do you think, Leah?
I can stand up.
You can do jumping jacks.
I can
in
do
there.
jumping jacks and it's amazing. Some of you might look at this combi and think, I don't want to live in that. Never mind drive it to Australia. But we knew instantly that it had potential, and our hearts were telling us we had to buy it. We hadn't driven it. We didn't even know if the engine would start. But that didn't matter. Above all, it was strong bones that we needed, and this desert bus had those. Plus, it had a high top. If you're wondering why we came all the way down to Arizona to look at a bus, it's because this bus is in perfect condition. It has hardly any rust, and we've hardly seen any buses that it's not in as good condition as this. So we're pretty happy, pretty lucky. The next day, we made it official. It's mine! Thank you so much, Phil.
Well, I know it's going a good day.
Yeah, we'll take care of it. We've got a new combi.
And it'll move.
Yes. We've got a new combi in the Arizona desert. It's 115 degrees out, stinking hot.
Yes.
But we found the right combi for us. And this time it's under my name.
This bus still needs a little bit of work before it's ready to drive out of here, but we can't do that now. Not in this heat. No way.
Bye-bye, bus.
Over summer, we flew back to my birth island of Jersey, hung up our nomadic shoes, and got to work editing every single day to produce the final season of our Asta Alaska project. All the editing was almost enough to distract ourselves from the enormity of the situation we just put ourselves in. Did we really just buy another combi? And it's a 1973. It's 45 years old. And it's a high top, flipping bread loaf. I mean, it's not exactly the most aerodynamic vehicle to drive around the world, is it? After years of living in our South American combi Capito, we were done with zero headroom. And for the longest time during the search, we thought we'd get a pop top. Pop top? Pop top. Pop top. We had looked at a lot of Westie pop tops and almost even bought one. One of these might be the new Kombi Life Kombi. But whilst we think that they are great, we also think that they are not the best choice for the nomadic nature of overlanding. In reality, how often will we pop up the heavy roof?
And what about the mouldy canvas from tropical rains and condensation? I guess in the end, we agree with our friends Tim and Liz.
We would just end up getting to our location, popping the top, and then putting all our stuff up there as storage. And so it was this constant shuffle back and forth instead of using it as a bed. Or if you have kids, you know, it's perfect for that. But we weren't using it for what it was, and then decided that we would get permanent storage with a high top.
Well, and we'd load like 400 pounds on the roof, so like lifting the top was like a two-person effort as well.
The Thule and all that up there.
It's so heavy. It's so heavy that it's like, I'm not putting it up unless we are stopped and like not moving for a couple days because it's such a pain.
So now that we have committed to a high top, we have to go and get the Kombi expedition ready.
All right, this is the hard part. Now we are gonna need to strip this Kombi back to its bones, remove any traces of rust from the 45-year-old frame, reinforce and replace a bunch of vintage metal, overhaul the brakes and lift the suspension, and sort out that rat's nest of a wiring harness. Oh, what a nightmare. Get our engine working well enough to cross the entire of the continental USA, and you know that's going to be easier said than done. And we'll probably need a new transmission too. I mean, it's a good bus, but there is just so much to do, even just with the bodywork. Are we going to paint it? We should probably paint it. Plus, on top of all of that, we still need to turn this bus into an off-grid studio and make it overland ready. Oh yeah, and we have to build a custom interior too.
So once that is all done and the Kombi is built, we are going to be driving it all the way from the West Coast, all the way to New York City, where we're going to be shipping the bus to Europe. And then we're going to be starting the very, very, very long drive to Australia. And all that, surprisingly, is the easy part.
As you can see by now, this is a huge project and a massive challenge. We are seriously overwhelmed by it all, and at this point it feels like we've bitten off more than we can chew. I can tell you right now that the next few months don't play out like we planned, but that is a story for next time.
When you say it out loud with everything that we need to do, it's a bit freaking crazy.
A bit.
It's the first time I've actually said out loud what we need to do. So we're going to the US, trying to find somewhere to stay. We're trying to find someone to help us with the bus. We're trying to get the bus done. We need to leave the USA. We need to go to the UK. We need to go to Australia to get a visa, and come back to the UK, finish the bus, and then start our journey. Start planning the journey across the world. What are we doing?
It's an adventure, babes.